The second thing is credit cards. And like you said, you get to college, your parents give you a couple $100, you burn through a couple $100 in a week. Next thing you know, where am I going to get money? So you've got the credit card booths. There's a lot of word out there, stay away from credit cards, they're bad, they're bad. But when you can sign up for a credit card and then go to a restaurant, swipe the credit card and walk out, suddenly they don't seem that bad anymore. Based on your experience with credit cards, what would you tell yourself at age 18 about credit cards to really frame what credit cards would represent in your life, given what you know now and also knowing who you were back then?
Mm-hmm. I used to watch a lot of gangster movies, a lot of movies about the mafia and such. And these guys don't have like brutes that'll come after you and like break your legs, but they will break your reputation as far as banking is concerned, which is just as bad in lots of ways. So I would have reminded myself of all the gangster movies that I watched about how things get really bad when you aren't in a position to pay up, and consider what the future ramifications are, which is hard because honestly, an 18-year-old kid still is in a place, like, I feel as far as maturity is concerned, that's a decision that it's almost too much responsibility for kids that age to even start with without like some sort of like supervision or guidance, which I don't know how you can actually, instill that, in the average 18-year-old. But talking to myself, I would essentially say, listen, you in 10 years will be severely hindered by the decisions you're about to make right now. The decision not to get the credit card, but the decisions that you will inevitably make because you have not yet become a really good bookkeeper. You're not good at keeping receipts and paying attention to where your money is going. Therefore, this is a little bit too much responsibility for you right now. And I'm saying this because I'm you. I'm not trying to be your dad, because I know that guy, like me as an 18-year-old, would have got pissed if someone said, you're not ready for that responsibility. I think it's trying to like go from that angle. But again, I think it would be very hard to explain very clearly without some experience. There's something like, intangible about this will hurt your credit record. As an 18-year-old, you're like, what's that? What does it matter? Being able to rent an apartment, being able to buy a car, being able to secure a loan of any sort will be impacted by what you're doing right now. And I don't know if I would know what to say beyond that.
The reason that it's so difficult to have that conversation is because the credit card industry has already anticipated the conversation. And just like I know, it's possible for you to live your entire life paying the minimum balance. So theoretically speaking, you do not have to suffer the burden of making bad decisions about credit cards. Because as long as you pay the minimum balance, you are going to keep a really, really, really good credit score. Because that's all they care about, is that you pay the minimum balance. And the minimum balance can be 2% of what you owe, can be 4% of what you owe, can be $10 a month, it can be $15 a month on thousands of dollars of debt. But then guess what? The day comes when you want to stop working, you want to retire. Or maybe unfortunately you do pass away, and then your children want to make some decisions of their own. It's later on in life that you begin to suffer the consequences. It's the next generation that suffers the consequences, because we're transitioning from being young people who are generating wealth and then leaving that wealth to the next generation, to young people who are accumulating debt, servicing the debt, and then leaving debt to the next generation. And it's like you said, it's impossible to explain that to someone who's 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, just wants to have a good time and needs some cash in their pocket. So I think this is the perfect blog to explore that on, because it's a sophisticated discussion that we need to have about responsibility, about financial self-reliance, and those kinds of things. So I guess from my perspective, to conclude this chapter, I just want to say there are a lot of different components of a credit card that any individual who's going to sign up for a credit card needs to take into account. First and foremost is annual fee. Because if you're being charged just to have the credit card, $50 a year, $100 a year, $150 a year, watch out. Because, they wave this t-shirt around, oh, just sign this, put that on. And then this very, very minuscule print, it says, after 1 year, we're going to charge you $100 and $100 every other year. Whoa. The second thing is the percentage rate. But I think that, again, it's complex. You know, is it 5.9%? Is it 9.9? Is it 14.9? All those numbers, honestly, I don't really think they make a difference, because the point is there is a number, and that number means you work for us now. Because when you graduate from college, you are working so that you can pay the credit card company. And that's where we need to leave it. So if you get a credit card and you don't use it responsibly, you are going to be working on behalf of the credit card company or on behalf of the student loan organization in order to service that. And as you said earlier, it's going to influence the freedom you have to make choices within your life about what you do after college.
Which are not visible to the eye, but which are rapid enough to be sensed by the ear.